Welcome to my channel. My name is Jared. This is another Sunday update video. I also post silent build videos on Wednesdays, so be sure to check those out as well. Today, we're going to talk about the 356. So, if you saw my last build video, you would have seen that I pulled the transmission, went through it, replaced a bunch of stuff, and put it back in. Now that's a pretty big oversimplification. There was a lot of little things that came up once I got the transmission apart that I didn't expect. So I'll kind of go over a few of those now. Basically, the transmission had the wrong axle housings. These have to have this bracket to hold the disc brakes. They only had disc brakes on this car for the last 2 years, which was 1964 and 65. So this is a 2-year only axle shaft. So they're hard to find and they're expensive. And so I assumed for that reason somebody took them off and sold them. Just like the tack was missing from the dash, and the same thing, the tack on this car is a electrical tack, but all the earlier 356s, the A's and the B's, they had mechanical tacks. There was a cable, like a speedometer cable, that went from the engine all the way to the dash, and that ran the tack on all the other 356s. So again, that tack was a 2-year only item. So it was hard to find, it was very expensive. I spent about $1,000 on that tack. So because of that, and because other things are missing that seem to be very valuable, it appears that somebody, before they sold it at one point, they just started taking valuable items off the car. And so for that reason, I assumed, okay, it makes sense, the axle tubes are gone, but I expected the rest of the parts for the transmission to be there. And that was my mistake. There were a lot of things missing from the transmission, little things I didn't know I needed. And so as I would get through the process, I would figure out that I was missing another part that I didn't even know existed, and then have to find it. And of course, it's a hard part to find. And so anyway, I did get the transmission out. I repaired it, I believe, and I got it back in. So it's very good progress being made, but it did take a long time. There were a lot of little hiccups in that. So I'm still waiting on a few parts. So once I was pretty much ready to install this, I realized that there was this bump stop thing missing here. And of course, it's a 2-year only bump stop, so it costs 2 to 4 times as much as all the others. So it's a, maybe a $200 or $400 part rather than like a $50 part like it would have been for the other 356s. So anyway, I've ordered those. I also found out that the brake calipers that I had that I thought were correct for this car, because I thought they came off the back of a 912, which is the same part number as this. They were not. I think they must have been front calipers or something, but they don't fit. So I've ordered new brake calipers for the rear. The front calipers are still here on the car, so I plan on rebuilding those. And that's actually the next step. So now the transmission is done, the next video on this car will be the brakes. That's the plan. I need to rebuild the front calipers, replace all the brake hoses, the soft hoses, replace some of the hard lines. I've got to replace the master cylinder, all that stuff. I got to go all the way through the brakes. And then I also have to do some other stuff with the pedals and the shift rod and stuff, and hook all that up. So hopefully that's all going to be in the next video for this car. But so other things that turned out to be an issue, if you saw the video, you would have seen that the differential housing cover was broken in the transmission. And at first I thought that was the only issue when I ordered a new housing and a new pin that I needed. And then I realized once I got those that I was actually also missing some of the gears that went inside the differential. And so then I was able to find an entire differential with axles already in it. So the whole assembly. And so I bought that, and then I cleaned that up, and I prepped that, and I got that back in the transmission and all back together. I've taken a few of these transmissions apart, not 356, but I've gone through some 914 transmissions in the past. And I've always found that the synchronizer rings are worn. And so I expected to be replacing the synchro rings, but I thought that was probably all it was going to need. And then I was going to put new gaskets on it, and that was going to be it. Well, it turned out that the synchronizers are in perfect condition. They're not worn down at all. All the gears looked excellent in the transmission, so there's no issues there. It was a little bit dirty, and kind of some stuff was gummed up on the gears just from sitting for a very long time. It didn't have any kind of oil in it. But the gears were actually all in really good shape. So the thing I thought was going to be wrong was not wrong at all. And then the things I didn't expect, of course, were the things that came up and had to be replaced. And then they all ended up being expensive and hard to find. But I did find, I believe, everything I need. Like I said, there's a few things still coming that I've ordered, but I believe I have everything that I need. So I made really good progress, and the transmission was really the unknown, because I already know, if you saw the video where I broke down the engine, I pretty much know what's needed there, and I can expect those costs. I'm pretty sure I've basically bought almost everything to replace on the brakes, so I'm pretty well covered, I think, on that. But the transmission was the big unknown, and these transmissions are very expensive. So, you know, I've seen complete transmissions listed for $14,000, right? You'll see just parts for like $4,000 or $6,000. So they're very expensive. So it wasn't really an option to just buy a new one. I really did have to just try to find only the parts that I needed and then replace those. And of course, lots of other little things I've discovered are missing. There's a little rod for the accelerator cable that was missing. Oh, hey, what's up, Walter? What's up, buddy? Good timing. Did you hear me out here giving an update video? This is Walter. Hi, buddy. But anyway, yeah, so like I said, the farther I went, the more I realized I was missing more and more things. You might also notice there's a lot of new hardware. And that's mainly because, you know, like I said, it was taken apart, and so a lot of the nuts and bolts and things were lost. And so I went to a place locally, and I want to give them a quick shout out. I just found them, I think, last year, and they're great. It's called Brown Bolt and Nut Corporation. They're here in Paramount, California. It's kind of by Long Beach. So if you're in the Southern California area, I recommend them. They're really great. I can just go in there with 1 or 2 bolts or just some measurements of what I need, and they just come back with exactly what I need, and they're really good quality bolts. So anyway, I had to go there a few times to get all the hardware that I needed to get it back together. So like I said, we're making good progress. It came out really good, but it was just one of those things that just kind of drug on because there was so much that I didn't know was missing until I got into it. But I am very happy with how it came out, and we are moving right along. So, like I said, hopefully the next video is going to be going through the brakes, and hopefully maybe hooking up the transmission, like the shifter linkage and the clutch cable, and getting all that stuff ready and hooked up. And then the video after that, the plan will be the engine assembly video. So we're moving along. I don't think there's going to be that many more videos left in this series. Hopefully I'm going to have this thing back on the road very soon. So that's pretty much it for this week, guys. Thanks for watching. And if you haven't already, please consider subscribing.